So, if you've been following me, then you know that right now I'm in Colombia. It is like 7:30 in the morning and I've been trying to record this video for the last few days. Okay, I think this is the angle. But I just do not feel inspired in the evening time. I'm too tired. So here I am at 7:30 in the morning outside because everybody's sleeping. But today I wanted to talk about something that has been coming up a lot from people I talk to, like friends, family, acquaintances, and the question that I get most often, and which is something along the lines of, how do you do it? How do you travel? How do you travel and work remote? How do you meet so many new people? And it's just the how do you do the things you do, which in my eyes comes down to, how do you follow your dreams? How do you pursue your passions, your goals, and commit to them? I read an interesting statistic that I'll share in the description, but it said that over 92% of Americans don't commit to their New Year's resolution each year. That is, to me, a bit of a staggering statistic, because that means that the majority of us have a vision of things that we want to do, of people that we want to be. We have a vision of this life that we want to have. And even though we have the best intentions, most of us still are not able to commit. That begs the question, what is the one thing that really helped me start following through with my goals and actually doing the things that I said that I would do? Let's go back to where the secret comes from. I was 26 years old, and at that time I was probably at the height of my social anxiety and depression. I lived a great life by pretty much anyone's definition. I had a great job and I was living abroad. I had an amazing amount of friends. I was just living the life that I kind of had envisioned, but I was probably in the worst mental headspace I had ever been. Now, a family friend told me about ayahuasca, which is a strong psychedelic that many people take that are going through tough times in their life. Everyone has a different reason for taking ayahuasca, and this definitely won't be the video where I dive deep into my ayahuasca experiences or exactly what ayahuasca is, but the overall summary is that it is a strong psychedelic brew that originates from Central and South America, from the Amazonian tribes there, and they traditionally would take it to help people heal. Typically it's healing mental, emotional, spiritual ailments, but sometimes there have been cases or people that I've said they've taken ayahuasca for some physical illnesses as well. And by no means was ayahuasca actually the secret ingredient that kind of helped me become the person I am today, that commits to the things they want to do. But a lesson I learned from this ayahuasca experience is the key that helped me get to where I'm at now, which I'm going to get to right now. So I go to an ayahuasca retreat in the Netherlands, sitting in a room with 30 people, and before you take the ayahuasca, you set an intention. I set my intention. My intention was to overcome my social anxiety and depression and to start being connected to myself. And once you drink the ayahuasca tea, within a certain amount of time, you start on your journey, and your journey is that kind of strong psychedelic experience that some people say is a hallucination, but if you're a little bit more on the spiritual side, you just say that it's just a spiritual inward journey. And I have a blindfold on, I'm lying down, and there are many things that I saw and many things that I experienced, but the one thing that stands out to me is I was in a dark room and I was nothing. I wasn't a body, I wasn't a mind, and I didn't know where I was or what was happening. And I started to think thoughts, and the first thought, of course, was, where am I? And as I would think a thought, the words would spell out in white letters. It would like spell out right in front of me, big white letters, and then disappear, just like that. I mean, I have goosebumps telling this story. I actually still get emotional as well telling the story. So then I started to think other thoughts, and because at the time I was in a dark place, within a few seconds, my thoughts started to kind of gear more towards a negative path. And I started to think, well, what if this doesn't work? And that was the full thought that I wanted to think. But as I would think it, the words would spell out, what if it doesn't? And the last word would not spell out in front of me. The whole thing, the words start to spell out, they disappeared, and I heard an echo of a voice that said, trust. Just like that. Trust. And I was so confused. I didn't know what was happening. Trust what? This didn't make any sense. And as I was thinking those thoughts, they started to spell out in front of me, right? Trust what? It doesn't make any... The words would disappear. The sentence wouldn't finish. And then I heard the word trust again. So I decided to think something a little bit more positive, because I did, of course, notice that each thought I was having was a little bit more negative, and that I wasn't able to complete the thought. I was constantly interrupted with the word trust. So I tried a positive thought, and I said, so you're telling me to trust that everything's gonna be okay. And the words spelled out in front of me in white letters, they gently drifted off. And no voice, no sound of trust. So I was curious. So I started thinking more positive thoughts. I said something along the lines of, so it's possible that I could no longer have social anxiety after this experience. But then, of course, my negative mind came back in and said, well, what if I don't have social anxiety after this experience, but then after a few weeks, all the words are being spelled out in front of me, and then I can't finish a thought. Trust. This went on for some time, and I don't really know how long, because you lose your sense of time in an experience like that. After that ayahuasca experience, something changed inside me. It's still hard. It's still hard to talk about. I started to realize for the first time ever that I don't have to live with social anxiety, and I don't have to be depressed. And I won't say that I just snapped my fingers and woke up like happy and woke up without that kind of like dark and heavy feeling that sat in my chest for so long. But what I started to feel was a sense of hope, you know? That maybe all it'll take is just trusting that if I believe in something, it'll happen. Trusting that everything is working out just the way it's meant to. That I can do anything I want. And once I had that trust, that was my golden ticket. I started to rewire my minds, and anything bad that would happen to me, any situation that would hurt me, whether I heard maybe a friend saying something about me when I wasn't around, that used to be a big trigger for me. Or if I didn't like my job and felt stuck and didn't know how to leave because I couldn't find another job, or if I was in a situation where I didn't have enough money, or if I had big dreams and goals but didn't know where to begin and felt like I didn't have the resources I needed to get them started, what I had now after that experience was a new found level of trust. I didn't need to know how, and I didn't need to know necessarily why. All I need to know was that somehow, some way, I can do what I want and I can figure it out, as long as I commit to having unwavering trust. Trust for me means everything is going to work out. Trust for me means if you don't give up, you'll always get what you want. You don't have to be so logical all the time. You don't have to plan out every single part of your life. You don't have to know everything about what you want to do and who you want to be and how you're going to get there. You just need to trust that you're going to do it. It also means that you're going to stay committed, that no matter what the external circumstances are, no matter what's happening to you, you're going to commit to what it is you want to do. Something that comes to mind that I think everyone can relate to is the goal of wanting to lose weight and get in shape. Has there ever been one time in your life where you wanted to do just that? You wanted to lean up, you wanted to get healthy, you wanted to exercise more. Maybe that was your New Year's resolution. Maybe you had to go to a wedding, a special event. Maybe it was your wedding or your special event, and that was your goal. But why is it that so many people who have this goal, almost every single person I know has had that goal at least once in their life, to shape up, get healthy, get lean? Why do so many people fall off the wagon? And you're gonna hear so many different things from different people, right? Maybe it wasn't the right time, they had too many events going on, and it just wasn't realistic in the end for them to commit to like dieting or a program or whatever it was. Or maybe you went to the gym and you committed as much as you could, but you realize the gym's just not for you. You go back home, and then after a few weeks you fall off the wagon because you're not in a good routine. Or maybe you live at home with your parents or a significant other, and they don't really support your journey. They're not trying to get healthy or get lean, and then eventually you fall back into old habits. There could be so many specific reasons as to why you weren't able to commit to that one goal that you wanted to do. But in all of these cases, we see a common theme. We're not seeing the results we want to see. We have the best intentions, we're going through with our goal, we start off strong, but we're not getting the results. There's too many obstacles in the way, there's too many variables at play, and we don't trust the process. We don't trust that now is the perfect time. That even if you are living at home with people who are not on the same journey, who are constantly challenging you, whether consciously or subconsciously, you can still do it. Trust is everything. You need to trust yourself that you can do what it is you want to do no matter what. You need to trust that life is happening for you, not to you. That no matter what happens, no matter how bad or negative it may seem, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to stop you from doing what it is you want to do. So I'm going to show you how I applied this to my life. Come to more present day. Let's say 6 months back last year, I had a goal, one of the biggest goals I've ever had in my life, and that was to work remote and travel for the year of 2023. It was a big goal because there's so much that goes into play with a goal like that. I own a car, I was renting an apartment in San Diego, I didn't know where I wanted to start, didn't know what countries that I wanted to go to. How was I going to afford it? Where was I going to live? Was anyone going to come with me? Were friends going to come with me? Were people going to support me? Do I need to plan everything, every detail? Do I need to start becoming more aware of my budget? What am I going to do with all of the things that I own? It was like an explosion of thoughts, but I knew that no matter what the obstacles were, whether I was going to go by myself or go with someone else or a group of people, or, it didn't matter all the minutiae of the details. All that I knew was that I was going to do it, and I decided within a few days what country I would start in, and that was Colombia. Where did I come up with Colombia? I started telling people that I wanted to travel and work remote, and a few of my friends and coworkers started telling me about how wonderful Colombia was. Colombia, is it safe? Is it realistic? Can I do it? So many thoughts came into my mind, but I was hearing it over and over again. I just started to trust that that was the place I was meant to start at. With all the signs that I was getting, I knew that I was going to start here, but I knew that there were lots of things I had to do to get here. And the first thing was cutting my lease in San Diego and selling all my stuff. That's hard for anybody, but I knew that I wanted to do this more than I wanted to be attached to the things that I owned. Within 2 weeks, I sold my stuff on Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, and then gave a lot of the things that I had away. I know that there's sacrifices that come with doing the things that you want to do. I told some friends about my experiences, and within a few days, I had a crew coming with me to Colombia, and here we are. They're asleep right now in the Airbnb. I don't necessarily know where I'm going next. I know that I'm traveling around Colombia. I do have some ideas of going to other parts of South America after this, but I don't really know. All I can say is that I put one foot in front of the other, and no matter what came my way, what I heard from other people, because I promise you, I did not have a lot of people supporting me when I initially shared what I wanted to do, especially where I wanted to start, because some people watch the news too much, okay, and still think there's so many places that are very, very dangerous, but we won't get into that on this video. All I can say is that trust is everything, and trust also means letting go of a little bit of logic, because logic can definitely help you in so many ways. We need logic, right? We do need logic to survive. We need to think clearly, and we need to weigh out our pros and cons, but it's a balance, because being too logical is almost a roadblock to get where you want to be. You can't really predict what's going to happen. You can't really and truly predict the future. You can't. We all know this. So just make sure that if you're being overly logical, if you're weighing out the pros and the cons are always coming up, that you need to probably balance that out and trust a little bit more. No matter what happens, whether it's the worst case scenario you envision in your mind, there's always a way to come out of it if you trust. I hope this video helped you in some way, and I'll also link some resources in the description box that helped me along this journey and help me really strengthen that feeling of trust. I hope it helps you as well. If you have any questions or feedback for me, please feel free to write to me in the comments below, or follow me on Instagram. You can write to me there. Thank you for tuning into my channel, Feeling Divine. And on this channel, we talk about self-help, spirituality, mental health, and so much more. And if you're new to the channel, thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a magnificent day, and I wish you all the very, very best. Bye.